Good evening and welcome to this very special live show brought to you in conjunction with Kobelco Europe and Kobelco Australia, which will become clear in just a moment. The story we're about to share with you, rather, shows you the true international nature of the global construction equipment industry. It's the story of how a team of Australian demolition experts flew halfway around the world to see a Japanese-built machine in action in the Netherlands. And it gets better. To bring you this story, an Englishman, this guy, who foresaw the machine in Germany, then travelled to America to meet with an Australian and a Dutchman to discuss how that Australian team of demolition experts was so impressed by what they saw in the Netherlands that they then ordered a machine to be sent from Japan to Australia. I hope you're following all of this. Anyway, the real story here is that the award-winning Australian demolition giant Liberty Industrial has ordered a Kobelco SK1300D DLC-10, the first of its kind in Australia. And it will be spearheading a major demolition project that, as you will hear later in the show, will be taking place quite literally in the middle of nowhere. Before we get into all of that, though, here is a very quick reminder of exactly what the Kobelco SK1300 DLC-10 looks like.
The new 100-ton class demolition machine for high-rise demolition sites combines height with power and offers a wide range of variations. In this video, we introduce Kobelco's new flagship model, the SK1300 DLC. The 4-piece high-reach demolition attachment, Next Advance, has an articulated insert boom. Its maximum working height is 40 meters. The articulated insert boom lowers the overall center of gravity of the machine and allows the installation of up to a 4.3-ton front attachment, even for a working height of 40 meters. Available in 31 and 35 meter types for the 3-piece high-reach demolition attachment, and in 31 to 40 meter types for the high-reach demolition attachment specification, including the 3-piece and 4-piece versions, to suit a wide range of site requirements. In addition, dedicated quick hitch piping is standard on all separate boom specifications and high-reach demolition attachment specifications. The separate boom specification is equipped with a jib cylinder that allows the boom to be extended directly upwards, allowing the operator to work at a greater height. A working height of 21 meters is achieved. It can also reach low areas, providing a large working range. The front attachment can even be brought close to the base of the machine. For working near the ground, a front attachment of up to 12 tons can be installed. Further, the bucket link unit is equipped with an object handling hook. This enables light work to be carried out, such as loading and unloading a front attachment from the trailer. To solve the problem of disassembly time and transport constraints, the upper frame has been converted into a subframe. This facilitates disassembly work, and in terms of transport, we have achieved a weight of 32 tons or less, a width of 3.2 meters or less, and a height of 3.3 meters or less. For the connection of the boom, a hook joint system is used. Each part can be easily reconfigured, reducing working time for disassembly and assembly. For extra long attachments, the arm is divided into sections, each with a maximum transport dimension of 2.45 meters high and 12 meters long, which facilitates the choice of chassis. Structurally, the boom and arm share the same parts and can be freely reconfigured beyond the scope of the attachment specification, resulting in a wide range of variations. This means that many different attachments can be used on a single machine, increasing the utilization of the machine. With 2 types of Next Advance with a 4-piece high-reach demolition attachment, 2 types with a 3-piece high-reach demolition attachment, and 2 types of separate boom for low-level buildings and foundation removal. There are 6 types of boom to choose from, allowing you to select the right boom type for the site. We invite you to experience the height capabilities and versatile variations of the SK1300 DLC at your site.
Okay, so how did this all come about? Why has Liberty Industrial put its faith in the Kobelco brand? And what are they hoping to accomplish with the SK1300 DLC-10? Well, to find out, we met up with Chris Wolf of Kobelco Australia and Peter Stoit of Kobelco Europe during the ConExpo exhibition in Las Vegas to chart the whole story. And I'm going to play that for you right now, just as soon as I get it fired up from my computer. Bear with me 1 second. Just talk amongst yourselves because it seems to have vanished. Here we go.
I did the first SK1300 in Australia has been sold to Liberty Industrial. They're very excited that the first SK1300 is theirs as well. We're very fortunate to get an order at a sale to Liberty Industrial, who's a big player in the Australian demolition market. They've got a long-term project for it in Gove, Northern Territory, so they've got a few years' work ahead of it. And we started talking to Liberty Industrial. We've talked to them for a long time, but we started talking seriously about the SK1300 about 18 months ago, and they were one of the first globally to order one.
About a year ago, we were demonstrating our first machine at our dealer in the Netherlands, and Liberty Industrial, they took the opportunity to visit us and to go and see the machine and to check the ease of transport and the ease of assembly and to feel the hydraulic performance. So they were very pleased with what they saw, and so after the demonstration, they ordered the machine with our colleagues in Australia.
They were quite excited by the capability of the machine. Again, the 40-meter reach with a 4.3-ton tool was very appealing, and it stacked up very well versus other options in the market. They quite liked the versatility of buying all the separate booms with it. So in particular, the separate boom, or the largest boom that comes with it, has a capability of carrying a 12-ton tool at ground level for processing, so it's going to be a very productive machine once the material's on the ground for disassembly. The SK1300 will be coming with every boom segment available, so it'll be everything from the 40-meter configuration in the 3-piece boom design to the 2-piece boom design that has a maximum reach of 35 meters or 31 meters depending on the configuration. And then they're buying a separate boom with an insert, which gives them capability of running a 12-ton tool at ground level or 9.6 ton at reach with that separate boom. So they're getting all the different configurations, which will suit them for different stages of the project. The nice thing about Kobelco and the SK1300 is it gives that high reach capability, 40-meter capability with a 4.3-ton tool direct from the OEM. So it's a turnkey solution that is very capable, and previously it wasn't capable without customizing it on site. So I think that really appealed to Liberty, and it was one of the reasons they decided to buy the SK1300. OEM support and a lot of capability. It is definitely a remote location, no doubt about it. To put it in perspective, the biggest city in Northern Territory is Darwin. If you look at Google Maps and ask how to get there by car, it's a 23-hour drive, you would have noticed, which means there's no major roads that go to Gove from Darwin. So all of the equipment for that project is actually going to be shipped there by a barge from Darwin around the top of Australia and then into Gove for the project. So yeah, it is a challenge, but no doubt about it, we're committed to supporting it regardless of where it is. It sort of goes with the territory in Australia. It's just one of the challenges of business in Australia in general, is that it's quite a big country with a relatively small population that's very spread out. So we're not new to supporting remote places in Australia. It's par for the course. We'll have certainly a combination to have fast-moving parts, consumables, filters, things like that on site so that they don't have to have any downtime or waiting for shit in it. But our dealer will also have a recommended parts stocking list at Darwin, and we've got the capability out of our main parts distribution warehouse in Sydney to get parts overnighted to just about anywhere in Australia. I'd say go will probably be a 2-day turnaround for parts, but we've made a commitment to back that machine up with the SK1300. It shares common components with in the driveline with our 85-ton SK850. So we've actually made a pretty strong parts commitment to keep all the major components in stock in Australia for both machines. It's certainly something that we wouldn't be selling if we didn't have the capability and the commitment to backing it up with, and that's what we're doing. It's the first machine to be delivered into Australia. So being that it's our first machine, we have quite a bit of support coming straight from Japan to help us not only put together the machine for the first time and learn the proper way to assemble and disassemble the machine. Liberty will be involved in that process as well, so that their team can learn how to properly assemble and disassemble the products. But we'll be doing comprehensive training on operation and assembly, transport, that sort of thing. Straight from the factory in Japan, they'll be coming to Darwin for a few days to support that handover process with Liberty Industrial. Yeah. All the Kobelco heavy excavators, including the SK1300, have a standard system on board. It's called GeoScan or Comexis. That is a telematics system that gives you comprehensive capability to monitor the condition of the machine. Certainly notifies you of all the upcoming services. Any sort of potential fault codes or anything is going to be accessible via that system as well. So you do get complete access to all the sensors and the computers and the telematics on that machine. So really, the system gives our dealers and Kobelco the capability to sort of know if there's any issues or problems before the customer even does. It also allows us to proactively schedule all the servicing, all the scheduled maintenance needs of that product. We'll be able to work directly with them, knowing when they're approaching all the service intervals and getting them what they need before they even know they need it. Yeah. We're really excited that the first SK1300 in Australia has been sold to Liberty Industrial. They're very excited that the first SK1300 is theirs as well. They've looked at Kobelco's for a long time. The visibility that the SK1300 has had in the global demolition market, I think, is exciting not only for Kobelco but also for Liberty Industrial. And yeah, I think they're innovators in their space. They're innovators in Australia and in the industry. And yeah, we're really proud to have an SK1300 sold to them for sure.
So lots of comments and questions in the chat. So to answer some of those questions, I've actually posted a link direct to the SK1300 DLC-10 website. You can find out all the specifications there, should you so desire. Excuse me. So you've heard what the machine is capable of. You've heard how Kobelco plans to support the machine when it goes to work in the middle of nowhere. And you've heard where the machine will be working. But all of this stems back to the Liberty Industrial team seeing the SK1300 DLC in action in Rotterdam for the first time. And this is what they saw. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to go over to that view. No, bear with me. That's the one I was after. When he put that together, I was astonished just how far Google Maps kept going. I was expecting it to fall off of Australia, but no, it's a long way. So no, I'm not expecting to go down there anytime soon. But if anyone from Liberty Industrial are watching, and obviously Liberty Industrial are active here in the UK as much as, well, not as much, but certainly they are active here in the UK as well as in Australia. If anybody would like to send me some footage of that machine actually at work, I would be eternally grateful. I am led to believe that that machine actually makes landfall in Australia on the 15th of this month, which is, off the top of my head, 10 days time. So 10 days time, and then it's got the journey around the top end of Australia, and then the Japanese engineers arrive with the Australian engineers and start to pull the whole thing together. Looking forward to seeing that actually being set up. Stephen Guthrie's here as well. Good evening, folks, and good evening to you, Stephen. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Now, I mentioned the fact that Al Grierson came very close to seeing this machine in operation. The SK1300 is such a huge bit of kit. Still salty that I didn't get to see it at work when I was on holiday nearish Rotterdam. You were literally a couple of miles away from memory. Yes, I'd still be kicking myself about that as well. Steve Williamson loves a demo rig. She's a beast. Yes, she certainly is. I'm led to believe, although I think somebody is disputing this in the chat, I was led to believe that this is the biggest OEM-produced demolition rig in the world. I think it is, but I'm not entirely sure. Nick Drew is here, still packing his suntan lotion, getting ready for his trip abroad for his hollybobs. Nice to see Kobelco got the sprockets in the right place. You certainly want the sprockets in the right place when you're working at 40 meters upwards. A lot of thought put into this machine. One of the things that struck me about the SK1300, obviously there'd been a big build up to it in the run up to Bauma. It was always likely to be one of the stars of the show, and it was one of the stars of the show. I'll say the same thing about the SK1300 as I said about the Despe machine that we brought you this time last week. It's in proportion. You see some high reach machines that seem weird. They're very tall and very skinny, and they don't look like a demolition machine, whereas the SK1300 is beefy from the ground up. It looks like it's going to do a job of work. So I think Liberty Industrial are going to have some fun with that. That's a really compact transport configuration. Obviously, working in places like Rotterdam, you want the compact transport configuration. When you're going by boat or by barge around the top end of the Northern Territory in Australia, less of a concern, I guess. But yes, you're absolutely right. Mark Whiting's in the house. Good evening, Mark. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Jim Turner is echoing the sentiments of Al Grierson. That breaks down nice and small for getting in and out of city streets. In Gove, there's no city to have streets. It's literally bandit country, middle of nowhere. And by all accounts, it's going to be there for quite some time. Does Kobelco manufacture their own attachments, or do they only serve as an illustration in the video? I am not aware of Kobelco making attachments. Nick Drew may know differently. If anybody from Kobelco UK, Europe, Australia, if any of you are watching, do you make attachments? I don't believe that's the case, and I know certainly that Liberty Industrial have outsourced their attachments needs. Here is our dissenting voice, and I will play it. That is Max Frester. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So big and yet dwarfed by the Liebherr R980 demolition at last year's Bauma. Yeah, the Liebherr was a big machine, but is that pure OEM? I don't know the answer to that. Is this the biggest machine Kobelco produced, or is there a possibility they could go bigger? It's certainly the biggest at the moment. As to the best of my knowledge, there may be something lurking in the background in Japan, but if there is, they haven't told me about it. So that would be my answer to that one. Rattling through. As I said myself, Gove, long way from everywhere. Doesn't matter where you start; it's a long way away. There we are. Are you hearing me? Well, that's very weird. That is, can you hear me now? Okay, I don't know what happened there. My mic was on, and I'm getting a readout on my screen, so I'm not entirely sure what the score was there. But sorry to Gary, sorry to Mike, sorry to Al rather, and sorry to Ken and Stephen as well. Yeah, no idea what's going on there. The sound was on. Very bizarre. And even Fred is watching next door. I'm surprised he didn't come and slap me around the back of the head, actually. Can't hear, says Tim Ray. Good evening, Tim. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Blimey, what the hell's happening? Yes, now it works. No idea what happened there. That was a glitch in the system, I can only imagine. I'm going to go back and answer a couple of the questions there. I know that somebody asked if it was the biggest machine that Kobelco produced. It is at the moment, to the best of my knowledge, although whether there is something lurking over in Japan, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to go back to Max Frestier, who said it was dwarfed by the R980. The R980 was certainly a big machine, but I don't know if that's a pure OEM machine or not. And does Kobelco manufacture their own attachments? Not as far as I know, and certainly Liberty Industrial have outsourced their requirements for all things attachments-wise. Let's have a look. Ken Hatcher says, I'm talking to myself. Ken, you know now. You should know by now. I do that quite a lot. Let's have a look. Oh, let's have a look. Stuart Kirk. Is that the Stuart Kirk from Sirius? I sincerely hope it is. If it is, Stuart, good evening. Great to see you at Plantworks, my friend. Thank you very much indeed for being here. They have incredibly large demolition machines in Japan, the SK1300 and bigger. There you are. Japan is a bit of a, having spent a bit of time there, and it was only a tiny bit of time there, it is a law unto itself. Huge machines and even more huge attachments. Obviously, buildings there are built to be earthquake proof, and therefore the foundations are huge, and therefore the attachments that go with them are huge as well. Yes, good. Glad everyone can hear me now. Now, somebody was saying it was when I had the side view on. That's bizarre. It's supposed to switch automatically. No idea what that's all about. Used to pick up it again after answering Gary's first comment. Thank you, Al. Yes, back again. Even SK1300D, although those are based on the crane chassis. I think I'm fairly sure there's a photograph doing the rounds online of that, and it's in a slightly unusual kind of royal blue and red, if I remember rightly. Gary Muirhead, very impressive machine, the SK1300, but I still prefer the jumbo. Wow, what a beast. Horses for courses. You're welcome, Mark, to Stuart Kirk. Despe t-shirt arrived today, Mark, so we'll be sporting for traveling tomorrow. Cheers for that. Thank you very much indeed, Nick. I'm glad that arrived safe and sound. Okay, people, it is time to bring this bad boy into land, as they say. Before I go, I would like to thank both Kobelco Europe and Kobelco Australia for basically entrusting this show to us. They didn't need to, but they reached out to us, and we were very, very happy to oblige. And I have to say, I'm just going to say it, it's been an absolute pleasure pulling it together. I'd love to work with them again. They've been an absolute joy to work with. I wish Liberty Industrial every success with their new purchase. I look forward to seeing film and photographs of the machine hard at work. If that proves to be a problem, Liberty Industrial, I'll happily brave the spiders, the snakes, and the sharks to pop along and film it for you. I'm just throwing that out there. And of course, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for giving up part of your Wednesday evening to join me for this exclusive show. We do have another one planned for next week, but I'll tell you more about that in the days ahead, because tonight is all about Kobelco. So for the final time, we're going to look again at the amazing piece of engineering that is the Kobelco SK1300 DLC-10 demolition excavator. This is how I first saw the Kobelco machine at Bauma in October. Now, I won't be here when this show ends. The end of the film will mark the end of the show, but I did want to play you out with this.